Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful way of thinking, a philosophy for how to navigate a world that feels like it's constantly shifting right under our feet.
So let's just start with the big question, right? In a world that feels like it's in a state of permanent crisis, how do you find any kind of stability? When every single step you take feels like it's on shaky ground, what's the game plan? Not just to survive, but to actually thrive.
Well, the answer, or at least a fantastic metaphor for it, comes from this amazing bird, the African Jacana. This bird spends its entire life walking on water lily leaves. But here's the catch. Every single leaf it steps on immediately starts to sink. It can't count on any one spot for security. So how does it do it? Simple. It never stops moving. Its security isn't the leaf, it's the motion.
Now, let's hold that image in our minds and contrast it with how we humans tend to do things. We often fall into what you might call the human security trap. We basically do the exact opposite of the waterbird. And you can see the difference right here. The waterbird finds security inside itself, in its own ability to just move. It has to embrace change, because that's just how its world works. It's always looking for that next leaf, driven by hope. We, on the other hand, we look for security in external things, our job, a title, a system. We're scared of change, so we try to build walls on our lily pads, thinking we can stop them from sinking. Our strategy? It's almost always driven by a fear of losing what we have. And this really gets to the heart of our flawed strategy. We try to deny a basic fact of life, that nothing is permanent. We think if we can just hoard enough stuff, protect what we have, build strong enough walls around our ideas or our jobs, then maybe we can make the ground solid. But you can't. The lily pads are always going to sink. It's a strategy that's pretty much doomed from the start.
Okay, so if our way is a trap, what's the alternative? Well, we can look back to the bird. Its way of life isn't just about survival, it's a whole philosophy, and it's got principles we can actually use.
This whole philosophy is built on 7 guiding principles, but to make them a bit easier to wrap our heads around, we're going to group them into 3 main themes: a new mindset, a new practice, and a whole new perspective.
So the first theme is all about a major shift in our thinking. It's about fundamentally changing where we even look for security in the first place. This isn't about what you do, it's about how you see the world.
And this is what we call the security shift. So instead of looking for that permanent job or that totally stable system, you start finding security within yourself. It's in what you can learn, how you can grow, your skills, and your ability to dream up new ideas. Think about it. What you carry inside you can never be taken away. That is the waterbird's real strength, not finding the strongest leaf, but its own agility.
Now, part of this new mindset is getting what the source material calls humbly grounded. When one of our lily pads starts to sink, it's so easy to feel like it's our fault, like it's some kind of personal failure. But this philosophy reminds us, hey, there are always bigger forces at play. Accepting that we don't control everything, well, it frees us from all that self-blame and just lets us move on.
Okay, so once you start to adopt this new mindset, it naturally leads to a new way of acting in the world. This isn't just abstract theory. It's about what you physically do, day in and day out.
The practices are actually pretty simple, but they're incredibly powerful. First, keep moving. This is the bird's whole strategy, right? It's perpetual motion, and it's driven by hope, the belief that there's always another, better leaf just ahead. Second, that movement forces you to learn continuously, always adapting, always reinventing yourself. And third, you master the art of anticipation. You know every leaf is going to sink eventually, so you start using your imagination to think about what's next and prepare for it. So when you combine this new mindset with these new practices, something really cool happens. Your entire perspective on life starts to shift. It really challenges some of our deepest beliefs about what has value and what gives life meaning.
And that brings us to this really fundamental question. If everything is temporary, every job, every relationship, every single moment, does that make it all pointless? Does it devalue life?
The answer is this beautiful paradox. This philosophy argues that the exact opposite is true. I mean, think about a rainbow. What makes it so beautiful? A huge part of it is the fact that you know it won't last. Knowing that a moment is temporary is the very thing that makes us cherish it, that forces us to be fully present. That's the appreciation paradox. The fact that things are fleeting is what makes them valuable.
So what? What does all this actually mean in practice? Well, adopting the way of the Waterbird isn't just some mental exercise. It has real, tangible effects on how we lead, how we work, and how we live. It really lets us live a lighter, more liberated life.
And this way of thinking, it doesn't just stay in your head. It completely transforms some of the most important parts of our lives. Let's just touch on 4 key areas where this shift can have a massive impact: leadership, our careers, parenting, and education.
And in every single one of these areas, the shift is away from control and towards empowerment. It doesn't matter if you're a leader, a parent, or just thinking about your own career. The goal is always to build up that internal resilience instead of constantly needing some kind of external stamp of approval.
So here's the bottom line. The ultimate goal here is liberation. It's about breaking free from this old and frankly manipulative idea that you can find permanent security in some external system or company or organization. That belief, it's a prison.
And that brings us right back to the core lesson of this whole explainer. Your real safety, your true foundation. It's not the ground you happen to be standing on right now. It is your own inherent, internal ability to take that next step. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In your own life, your job, your beliefs, your relationships, what is the leaf that you are desperately clinging to, trying to keep from sinking? What are you so afraid to leave behind? And maybe more importantly, where will you find the hope and the courage to take that next step?